Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1844A, and today's date is April 17th, 2019, and the title of the episode is, How Do You Destroy the Central Bank? You use the weapon they fear the most. Now, we know that Robert Mueller has been investigating Donald Trump for over 2 years now, and has concluded that there is no case to answer on his colluding with Russia during his election campaign. Given that news, you would expect the markets to have soared. Instead, they've reacted by tanking, and there's nothing the markets hate more than political uncertainty. Now is not a good time to be fully committed to stocks. Gold has rallied along with silver this year, and it might be time to think about putting some of your money into precious metals. If you call Noble Gold, you can speak to one of their advisors about the pros and cons of buying precious metals. So click the link below to get your free gold IRA guide, or just call 877-646-5347 and make sure to mention X22 Report to get the free gold investment guide. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, everything is starting to come together, and I'm talking about what is happening with the economy. I'm talking about what is happening with the sealed indictments, the arrests, the D-class, and everything else. Because when you start to look at everything, you can start to put all the pieces together and you can see what's happening. Think about what Trump needs to do. He needs to keep the economy going way past 2020. So what does he need to do? He needs to make sure that the economy looks fantastic. Of course, this is on paper. He needs the statistical numbers to look great. He needs everyone to believe that everything is fantastic. And when I say everyone, I'm talking about the mainstream media, those people that are asleep, and everything else. And he needs stimulus. Where is he going to get stimulus? Well, remember, a lot of the central banks, they've stopped stimulus. They were tightening. They were raising rates. So he's getting it from China. China is preparing new stimulus packages. They're also making sure that their economy doesn't come down, because if their economy comes down, guess what happens to the rest of the world? It all comes down with it. So what are they doing? Well, they are doing many different things. They have a waiver on car ownership quotas for families who don't own a vehicle. Subsidies for people who exchange vehicles that are as many as 10 years old for electric, hybrid, or fuel cell vehicles. No limits or traffic controls for new energy vehicles. Encouraging banks to increase auto loans in Tier 3 cities or below. Considering deducting auto purchases from personal income tax. Subsidies of up to 13% for a home appliance purchase at a maximum of 800 yuan per purchase. Exemption of value-added taxes for used car transactions until the end of 2020. All of this is being done to make sure that this entire system stays afloat. Now, the mainstream media, they're trying to make sense of all this, and they're saying, well, you know what's happening here? The Fed is taking action, and they are helping the economy. They're helping it so it doesn't go into a recession. Yeah, that's what the central bank is doing, because they've always done this in the past. No, they're trying to explain what is happening right now, because think about it. There is no clear direction from the data they're receiving. The data looks fantastic. The unemployment numbers look great. GDP numbers are going up. The stock market's going up. They have the numbers. So why are the central banks doing the opposite of what they were doing before? The numbers are even better right now. And we know that this has nothing to do with what they're doing at this point. What is happening right now is that the patriots are in control of the entire system. They're the ones who are calling the shot. And the Fed is saying, well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to control it because of inflation. We're really trying to get inflation up. Well, their mandate is not to have any inflation. It's supposed to have zero inflation. That's part of their mandate. And yet, that's all they can mention. Think about this for a second. This entire time, the unemployment numbers have getting better and better and better. GDP was recalculated, and the GDP numbers are looking better and better and better. Since Trump came into the White House, the stock market has done what? It has gone up. Now, during this period of time, they were raising rates, and all of a sudden they come to a screeching halt when the economy is doing the best it's ever been, and the numbers are getting better and better. They're not getting worse, they're getting better. So what does this mean? It means they're going to cut rates because Trump, the patriots, they're calling the shots. So with the numbers looking better than they ever have been before, during Obama and everything else, they're now going to cut rates. This is going to be a clear signal that the patriots are completely controlling what the Fed does at this point, because you can see what they're doing doesn't make sense with the data they're receiving. Now, we need to go back to post 2619 because this was during the question and answer. And Annan says, do we have gold? Q says, yes, gold shall destroy the Fed. Now, we need to understand why gold is going to destroy the Fed. Think about it. Central banks around the world, especially in this year, they have been buying more gold than ever before. Here are some statistics from the World Gold Council. The Northern Miner reports that central banks netted 51 tons in gold purchases, the most since October 2018, when they increased gold held in central bank vaults by 105 tons. Switching to ounces, the miner states that the gold holding grew by a startling 2.9 million ounces in January and February of 2019 versus 1.9 million ounces during the same period of 2018. This is the highest level of gold buying by central banks since the first 2 months of 2008 during the financial crisis. Now, think about why they are doing this. Right now, we know that gold is being manipulated. We know that someone threw paper contracts at the gold price, brought it down, but they're having a tougher and tougher time keeping the gold price down. I do believe that this is being done on purpose now to allow governments around the world to purchase as much gold as they possibly can. And of course, they're doing this through their central bank systems. Now, if all these central banks have gold, which really belongs to who? The people of that country. And this is why Italy's fighting to get their gold back. Of course, central bankers, the private Western central bankers, I should say, they don't want to give up their gold. But they're accumulating a lot of gold right now. If the world is accumulating gold and they're preparing by holding gold, what is going to bring down the Fed? Everyone holding gold. Think about what has happened here. Trump, his statistical numbers look amazing. GDP increasing, unemployment number all-time low. Manufacturers are coming back to the U.S. Regulations are being removed. He's reworking trade deals. He's going to introduce players into the Fed that are outside of the system. Now, it might not be Moore, it might not be Kane, but whoever he puts in their place, they're going to mix things up. Why? Because Q has told us they're going to restructure the Fed. Basel III went live on March 29th, which makes gold a Tier 1 asset. Central banks and governments can now purchase all this gold. Countries are moving away from the Federal Reserve note towards gold. They want to make sure that they have gold because they understand that the Federal Reserve note, well, it is dying. Countries fighting to get control of their gold. Look at Italy. Look at Venezuela. Look at other countries that repatriated their gold. Germany. Gold manipulation right now is continuing to allow countries to purchase gold. This will end. Once the manipulation of gold ends, it will then rise. What happens when gold starts to rise? Well, the dollar loses value. The dollar, which is the Federal Reserve note, will lose confidence around the world because right now it's lost a lot of its value, but once gold starts to rise, people can see clearly what the dollar is really worth. As the dollar loses confidence, what happens to gold? It gains confidence. Now, this doesn't mean that the system is going to be backed by gold, but it could be a gold-backed confidence builder where countries have gold. The U.S., I do believe that Q is right. Gold is here in the United States. Other countries are ramping up their gold purchases. They're going to say, we have the gold, and the fiat system, well, it is completely imploding on itself. And they know it's going to implode on itself because it's a central bank system. It is not designed to last in the long term. It is only designed to last a certain period of time. During this period of time, the central bankers come in and they enslave the people, they rob the country of their assets, and they take complete and utter control. And then they have an event to cover up what is coming. But this time, they don't have this event. They're completely exposed. And what weapon do they fear the most? Gold. Because when gold is there and it's rising, their fiat currency looks worthless. Actually, it doesn't look. It is worthless. And they know this. Think about the $100 bill. And we went over this before. One side of it is the Federal Reserve note. That's the left side. The right side is the gold $100 bill issued by the United States Treasury. So they split the $100 bill into two parts. The Federal Reserve part on the left, and we're moving towards the gold standard, showing you that there's two things happening at the same time. And that's where we are today. We are experiencing a central bank economy while the patriots are bringing in a new economic system, which is going to either be gold back or a gold confidence builder. Both of these things are happening at the same time. And Trump and the patriots, they're getting ready to make their move. And this is going to be coming very, very soon. Think about what's happening during this whole period of time and how many things have been put into place. Once they get the treasonous individuals out of government, the corrupt government officials that want to keep the central bank alive. Remember, there are still blockades within government. Remember, Q has been talking about blockades with Clinton. Well, there's blockades with the central bank. These blockades need to be removed to allow the audit to happen. And this is what Trump and the patriots are doing right now. Because think about it, when he exposes the treasonous traitors and all these individuals, many of these individuals are going to resign. They're going to get fired. A lot of them are going to go into jail. And this is going to clean out the entire house. Once you have the house cleaned out, the new people are going to say, well, why don't we audit the Fed? We should know what they're doing. The blockade will be removed. And we will be able to audit the Fed at this point. But remember, all of this is interconnected. And one thing has to happen so the other thing can happen. And that's what we're watching right now. But they're making sure that all the pieces are in the proper area so they can activate them when the time is right. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.